This might be one of the most useful videos you've ever seen. Imagine that you hold the key to the human soul, that you are able to see through the masks that people wear every day, to sense their true intentions and emotions that they so skillfully conceal. It's not magic, not supernatural power, but the ancient art of reading people. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to know how you feel before you realize it yourself? They instantly recognize your fears, joys, or doubts. It's as if they are reading a book with the pages open, even though you are trying to keep your thoughts and feelings deep inside. It's not an accident. It's the result of skills you can develop. And today we will reveal to you 4 techniques that will help you read people as if you were seeing their inner world in vivid colors. Imagine that from now on you'll be able to see the truth behind the words. Understand what's behind a smile. See disappointment behind calmness or hidden joy behind formality. This is powerful knowledge, knowledge that can change everything. It's something that will help you better understand the people around you, build deeper and more authentic connections, avoid deception and manipulation, and finally, gain inner confidence and peace of mind in your interactions with others. But why is this so important? Why can the ability to read people completely change your life? Because it opens up a whole new world. A world where you will no longer be lost in guesswork, where you won't be fooled by emotions and ulterior motives, where every communication you have will be clear and conscious. This is how true leaders start. This is how people who can change the reality around them act. Have you ever felt uncertainty before an important meeting or conversation? Doubted if you're getting it right about what a person really feels or wants? Or perhaps you've experienced someone saying one thing but doing something completely different, and you felt cheated. That's not going to happen anymore. Today you will learn how to see the truth, how to understand true motives and hidden emotions. If you're ready for this, if you want to master the skill of reading people, this video is for you. Right now, we'll reveal to you the techniques that successful leaders, negotiators, and psychologists use to literally see right through people. And after this, you'll never look at communication the same way again. It may seem like it takes years of practice and training, but it really starts with simple observations, learning to be attentive to the details that others miss. And once you start applying these techniques, you'll realize how much clearer the world around you becomes, and how easy it will be for you to predict people's behavior and sense their true intentions. So get ready. In a few minutes, your life will not be the same. You will become someone who sees beyond words, who feels more than gestures can say, and someone may try to hide their emotions from you, but you will always know what is really going on inside them. Stay tuned to the end, because this is not just a set of techniques. It's an art that can change your life, to help you become more confident, more insightful, and more successful in any area, whether it's work, relationships, or personal ambitions. Technique 1. Analyzing facial expressions. A person's face is the mirror of his soul. It reflects the innermost emotions, even when a person tries to hide them. The ability to read facial expressions is perhaps one of the most powerful tools that will help you see the true feelings of the interlocutor. After all, as they say, the eyes are the mirror of the soul, but the rest of the face works in tandem, showing what a person is really feeling at the moment. Unlike gestures, which can be more conscious and even controlled, the face is rarely able to lie. No matter how hard a person tries to hide his true feelings, small changes in facial expression will still give it away. And if you learn to carefully observe these nuances, you can literally read the emotions of the interlocutor in real time. Let's start with the most basic. The look. Eyes can convey a whole range of emotions. When a person is genuinely happy or interested, his eyes literally shine. It is noticeable by dilated pupils, a more open look. A person looks you in the eyes with interest, and this is a direct signal that he is fascinated by the conversation. However, if the look begins to run away, the interlocutor cannot hold eye contact or his eyes run around. This is a clear sign that he feels discomfort or even hides something. There is one more important detail that can give away a person. It is blinking. When the interlocutor is nervous or feels tension, the frequency of blinking can increase sharply. This happens involuntarily and is the body's reaction to stress. So if you notice that your interlocutor blinks more often than usual, most likely, he is experiencing internal anxiety or tension. But the eyes are just the beginning. Let's look at other parts of the face. The forehead, eyebrows, and mouth area are three key areas that convey basic emotions. For example, if a person raises one eyebrow or slightly frowns their forehead, it can indicate that they are surprised or unhappy about something. If you notice deep wrinkles on the forehead, it can be a signal that they are experiencing a lot of tension or anxiety. Let's take a closer look at the eyebrows. They play an important role in expressing emotions. For example, when a person is surprised, his eyebrows fly up. This is an automatic reaction that happens without his control. When a person is angry or irritated, his eyebrows move to the center, forming a characteristic crease on the forehead. And if the eyebrows are raised and drawn together, it can be a sign of deep thought or anxiety. Now let's turn our attention to the mouth. A smile is one of the most deceptive elements of our face. People often smile to hide their true emotions, but not every smile is genuine. A sincere smile affects not only the lips, but also the eyes. When a person is really happy, his eyes begin to squint slightly and the corners of the mouth rise up. If the smile touches only the lips and the eyes remain motionless, it may be a sign that the person is hiding something or just wants to look polite. It is also important to pay attention to small movements of the lips. When a person is nervous, he may bite his lip or press them up. This is a clear signal that he is experiencing internal tension. If you see that your interlocutor often makes such movements, it may be a sign that he feels insecure or is trying to hold back some emotions. Also related to facial expressions are such important elements as micro-expressions. These are facial reactions that appear for a split second and disappear before a person has time to realize them. These micro-expressions occur involuntarily and are a direct reflection of true emotions. For example, if a person experiences a moment of fear or anger, on his face may flash the corresponding expression, even if he immediately tries to hide it. Learning to notice such micro moments, you can literally catch the emotions of a person at a time when he himself has not yet had time to realize them. Let us now consider how this technique can be applied in practice. Imagine a business meeting. Your interlocutor smiles, his words are full of confidence, but you notice that his eyes do not participate in the smile. Moreover, he often blinks and pushes his lips when you discuss important points of the deal. This could be a signal that he is feeling insecure or even hiding something. At first glance, he may seem friendly and open, but his facial expressions tell you that he is actually tense and insincere. Facial expressions are a powerful tool for those who can read them. They give you access to the emotions a person is trying to hide. But it's important to remember that facial expressions should always be analyzed in context. If a person is frowning, it doesn't always mean they are angry. They may just be thinking or focusing on an important task. So just like with gestures, your job is to look at the totality of the signals, not the individual elements. Practice observing facial expressions in your everyday life. When you talk to friends, colleagues, or even strangers, try to pay attention to their faces. Watch how their expressions change depending on the topic of conversation. Gradually, you will begin to notice that small changes in facial expressions can tell you a lot about how a person really feels. Remember, faces can't lie the way our minds can. Technique 2. Listen to what people say and how they say it. The words people choose can say a lot about them, but even more can be learned by paying attention to how they speak. Tone of voice, rhythm of speech, pauses and accents are all important aspects that can reveal a person's real emotions and thoughts. Our voice doesn't always obey us the way our words can. And if you learn to listen not only to what is said to you, but also how it is said, you can discover the true intentions of your interlocutor. Tone of voice is one of the most important elements that can reveal true emotions. For example, when a person speaks in a higher tone of voice than usual, it can mean that they are excited, nervous, or stressed. On the other hand, a lower tone of voice may indicate that the person is trying to hide their emotions or feeling insecure. Pauses in speech can also be a useful indicator. If a person pauses too often, it may mean that they are unsure of what they are saying or are trying to think of the best way to hide the truth. Let's take an example. Imagine that your interlocutor is telling you a story and suddenly starts speaking faster than usual. This may be a signal that he is nervous or wants to end the conversation as soon as possible. His words may seem logical, but the accelerated rhythm of speech indicates inner anxiety. Or vice versa, if a person starts speaking more slowly, this may be a signal that he is thinking about his words, perhaps trying to hide something or soften his position. Also, pay attention to the volume of speech. When a person feels confident, his voice is usually loud and clear. But if you notice that his voice is getting quieter, it may mean that he is not sure of his words or is hiding something. A person may even subconsciously speak more softly if he is uncomfortable or does not want his words to be too visible. Another important aspect is accents and intonation. We often change intonation depending on how we feel at a given moment. For example, if a person raises his intonation at the end of a sentence, it can indicate uncertainty or doubt. These kinds of changes in speech can be almost imperceptible, but if you learn to pay attention to them, they become excellent signals for you to reveal the true intentions of the interlocutor. Now, let's talk about the words people choose. When a person feels insecure, they may use certain phrases or words to avoid direct answers. For example, if someone constantly says maybe, probably, or I think, it can mean that they are trying to avoid a specific answer or are unsure of their position. These words often serve as a defense mechanism to avoid taking full responsibility for what they say. It is also important to pay attention to the way a person constructs his sentences. When the interlocutor speaks confidently, his speech will be direct and structured. But if you notice that a person begins to avoid direct statements or uses conditional terms too often, it can be a sign that he is trying to hide his true intentions. For example, instead of saying "I don't agree," he may use the phrase "one think it may not be quite right." Such ambiguity in speech often indicates that the person is afraid to express his thoughts openly or doubts his words. Pauses in speech are another key element that can help you understand the true emotions of the person you are talking to. If a person pauses too long or too often, it could mean that they are considering what to say next, perhaps trying to find the words to hide the truth. Or it can be a sign of nervousness, especially if the pauses are accompanied by gestures such as touching the face or rubbing the hands. It is important to be able to recognize these moments and not let the pauses mislead you. It is often in these moments that the truth lies. Now let's look at specific examples of how to put this technique into practice. Imagine you are in an important meeting and one of the participants starts talking about an upcoming project. At first glance, his words seem confident and convincing. But if you listen to his tone, you will notice that his voice shakes a bit and his phrases become more vague when he gets to specific details. This can be a signal that he is not confident in his knowledge or the results of the project, although he is outwardly trying to look confident. Tone, rhythm, and structure of speech can give you much more information than just words. Often people try to hide their true feelings behind beautiful phrases, but their voice, intonation, and pauses still give them away. Your task is to learn to hear not only what is said to you, but also how it is said. Only in this way can you see the true intentions and emotions of your interlocutor. Practice this art in everyday conversations. When you are listening to someone, try to focus not only on the content of their speech, but also on the way they say it. It may seem difficult at first, but over time you will begin to notice such nuances as changes in tone of voice, frequency of pauses, and uncertain words. And every time you are able to pick up on these cues, you will be taking another step towards becoming a true master at reading people. Now that you have this technique, you will be able to better understand your interlocutors not only by their words, but also by the way they express their thoughts. This gives you a huge advantage in communication and helps you recognize hidden emotions and intentions. Your success in this matter depends only on how attentively and patiently you will listen. Every time you hear someone speak, ask yourself the question, what do they really want to say? Don't just rely on surface words. Look deeper, listen to the tone, rhythm, and pauses, and you will see how you begin to uncover the true feelings and intentions of the people around you. Sometimes the most important thing is not what is said, but how it is said. Technique 3. Pay attention to micro-expressions. Our faces are unique maps of emotions. Even when we're trying to hide something, micro-expressions can betray our true feelings. These tiny, barely noticeable movements of facial muscles last only a fraction of a second, but they can give you incredible information. If you learn to notice them, you can literally read other people's hidden emotions, even if they're trying to show something completely different. Micro-expressions are more than simple smiles or frowning eyebrows. They are small changes in facial expression that occur at the moment when a person is experiencing strong emotions. Even if he tries to suppress his feelings, these expressions can flicker for a split second before he regains control. Although these expressions disappear so quickly that many people don't even notice them, if you pay attention and start practicing facial observation, you can pick up on these signals. The key to understanding micro-expressions is the ability to be very attentive. This may seem difficult at first. How can you notice something that happens in a fraction of a second? But over time, your perception will become more sensitive and you will begin to notice these subtle changes. Micro-expressions are, in fact, instant manifestations of true emotions. For example, a person may say that he is happy to see you, but on his face may flash a second shadow of displeasure or irritation. This micro-expression will be so brief that many people will not notice it, but it will tell you much more than words. There are 7 basic emotions that are expressed through micro-expressions: anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise, and contempt. Each of these emotions has its own unique set of facial movements. For example, anger is often shown through compressed lips, frowning eyebrows, and a clenched jaw. Disgust can be seen by a wrinkled nose and raised upper lips. These expressions may only appear for a moment, but they are always present when a person is experiencing these emotions. Now let's look at how to put the technique of reading micro-expressions into practice. Imagine you are talking to someone about an important topic. The person you are talking to may try to maintain a neutral facial expression to hide their true feelings. But if you watch carefully, you can notice how their face changes for a split second when they feel irritation, fear, or doubt. These micro-expressions give you a clue as to what they are really feeling, even if they are trying to hide it. An example would be a business meeting. You present a new idea to your boss, and he responds that he likes the idea. However, you notice a subtle movement on his face. The corners of his lips turn downward, his eyebrows raise slightly. This micro-expression shows you that he is not really sure about your idea or even has doubts. Although his words say one thing, his face gives away something else. Micro-expressions are important not only in the professional sphere, but also in personal relationships. For example, your friend may say he is fine, but if you see a flicker of sadness or worry on his face, it may be a signal that he is not being completely honest. He may be going through something he doesn't want to talk about, but his face will tell you the truth. If you learn to recognize these moments, it can help you maintain more genuine and deeper relationships with others. Practicing recognizing micro-expressions requires mindfulness and patience. But you'll get better and better each time you do it. Start by observing faces in your everyday life. You can even use movies or interviews to practice. Watch the facial expressions of actors or interviewees and try to catch those moments when their face changes for a split second. This will help you train your perception. It's important to remember that micro-expressions are not a magic wand that will instantly reveal to you all the secrets of a person. They only give you momentary glimpses of his true emotions, but you always need to consider the context for the full picture. If a person shows anger for a split second, it doesn't necessarily mean he's angry with you. He may simply be remembering something unpleasant or experiencing an internal conflict. So it's important to connect these observations with other aspects: body language, tone of voice, and words. Now let's talk about how you can use your knowledge of micro-expressions to improve your communication. When you notice micro-expressions in the person you are talking to, you become more sensitive to their emotions. If you see that he or she has shown disgust or irritation for a moment, it may be worth changing the topic of conversation or offering a solution that will smooth over his or her negative emotions. This allows you not only to understand your interlocutor better, but also to build communication more effectively, taking into account his hidden emotions. In addition, understanding micro-expressions can help you avoid conflicts. For example, if you notice that your interlocutor shows anger or contempt for a moment, you can react in advance without waiting for these emotions to escalate into an open quarrel. This can be especially useful in stressful situations where people often try to hide their feelings, but their faces give them away anyway. By practicing recognizing micro-expressions, you develop a unique skill: the ability to see beyond words and actions. This is a powerful weapon that will help you better understand people, even when they don't want to be understood. You will be able to recognize their true feelings, adjust your behavior, and avoid unnecessary conflicts. Over time, this will help you become more successful in both personal relationships and professional life. So remember, even if someone is trying to hide their emotions, their face will still tell the truth. Micro-expressions are your clues to unraveling true feelings. They are fleeting, But it is in these brief moments that you will find the key to understanding what is going on in the mind of your interlocutor. Technique 4. Body language and posture. When it comes to understanding people, body language is the key that can reveal hidden emotions and intentions. Although words may be carefully chosen, the body always tells the truth. How a person sits, how they stand, where their gaze is directed. All these small details create a complete picture of their inner state. If you learn to read body language, you can literally see other people's thoughts. Body language is a set of nonverbal signals we send to each other throughout our communication. Sometimes these signals can be more eloquent than words. For example, when a person is nervous, he may unconsciously start tapping his fingers on the table or twirling an object in his hands. It's a small gesture, but it can tell you more about his condition than the most beautiful and confident words. Let's start with the basics. One of the most obvious signals that the body can send us is posture. The way a person sits or stands can tell you about his mood, level of confidence, and attitude to the situation. For example, if your interlocutor sits up straight, with an open chest and raised head, this is a clear sign of confidence. This body position indicates that he or she feels relaxed and in control of the situation. On the other hand, if a person sits hunched over, with his or her head down and hands clasped to the body, this can signal insecurity or shyness. An example would be in a business meeting. If your interlocutor sits with his arms and legs crossed, it may mean that he is closed to dialogue and not ready to accept your ideas. At the same time, if he is relaxed, with his arms resting freely on the table and his legs straight, it may be a signal that he is open to discussion and ready to have a productive conversation. Next comes the gaze. Eyes are one of the most powerful tools of communication. Eye contact can tell you a lot about a person. If a person looks you straight in the eye, it is usually a sign of confidence and honesty. But if the person you are talking to avoids your gaze or constantly averts his eyes, it can indicate insecurity, anxiety, or even an attempt to hide something. It is important to remember that everything must be in moderation. Too long and intense gaze can cause discomfort, as well as its absence. Eye contact can also signal interest or lack of interest. When a person is interested in a conversation, they will maintain eye contact to show their attention and engagement. But if they start to look away, it can be a sign that their interest in the conversation is waning, or they are feeling uncomfortable. The next important aspect is gestures. Our hands are expressive tools that can tell us a lot about our thoughts and emotions. For example, when a person is gesturing actively, it can be a sign that they are enthusiastic and engaged in the conversation. However, if their gestures become erratic or abrupt, it can indicate that they are nervous or tense. Gestures can be either open or closed. Open gestures are when a person shows their palms or makes gestures that indicate trust and openness. Closed gestures, such as crossing their arms or hiding their hands, can signal distrust or an attempt to protect themselves. It is important to pay attention to such details to better understand how a person is feeling in the moment. Now let's talk about space. Personal space is a very important aspect of nonverbal communication. Each of us has our own comfort zone, and when someone violates it, it can cause tension or discomfort. If your interlocutor tries to keep his distance from you, it can be a signal that he feels insecure or uncomfortable in your presence. On the contrary, if a person comes closer to you and shortens the distance, it can indicate his trust and desire for closer communication. Another important element of body language is the position of the hands. When a person is relaxed and feeling confident, their hands are often in an open position. The palms can be seen, the hands are lying still. But if the hands are tense, clenched into fists or hidden, it may indicate his inner tension or an attempt to hide his feelings. For example, if the interlocutor in a conversation constantly hides his hands in his pockets or crosses them on his chest, it may be a signal of his reticence or unwillingness to reveal his true emotions. Gestures and body movements can also help you understand if a person is lying. When people are telling the truth, they usually behave relaxed and free. Their gestures are natural and casual. However, when a person is lying, they may start to show signs of nervousness. Their gestures become more stiff. They may touch their face, nose, or ear more often, as if unconsciously trying to hide or shut themselves off from you. This may be a subconscious reaction to the lie, and if you notice these signals, it may be a sign that they are lying to you. So now you know the 4 techniques on how to read people. You've gone through each of them, and now you have the tools that can completely change your life. These techniques will not only help you better understand the people around you, they will make you more confident, more aware in your communication, and more powerful in your actions. Imagine how your life will change with this new knowledge. You will no longer be dependent on what people want to show you. You will see their true intentions and emotions, regardless of their words or actions. This gives you not only insight, it gives you control. Control over situations that were previously unpredictable. Control over your emotions, because now you know what is really going on. And now that you have this knowledge, don't keep it just for yourself. Share this video with those who, like you, strive for success and self-development, who want to better understand others and build deeper, more sincere relationships. Leave a comment, tell us what techniques have been most helpful to you and how you plan to use them in your life. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because there are even more interesting and powerful tools for self-development ahead of you. Every video we release is aimed at making you stronger, smarter, and wiser. And if you don't want to miss a single release, right now click on the subscribe button and turn on notifications to always be aware of new videos that will help you on your way to success. Thank you for watching to the end. You are already on your way to becoming the best version of yourself. Don't stop. Keep going. Each step forward makes you stronger, more insightful, and closer to your goal. Stay with us on this journey. Subscribe, like, and share this video with others who are just like you, striving for self-development and success. We believe in you. Now your success is a matter of time and effort. And with our techniques, with our support, you will definitely achieve everything you want. Just act. Start right now. And as Marcus Aurelius said, life is what you make it every minute. Become the master of your life, and the world will be at your feet.